Okay, welcome back to another video. This is Darrell D. This is Darrell D TV. I'm glad you could join me. So check this out. Today we're going to talk some more rap vinyl. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite rap groups of all time. Probably my second favorite rap group of all time. We're going to talk about the Beastie Boys. Now, when I decided to do a video about some Beastie Boy vinyl, there's a lot of different places I could have taken it. There's a lot of different topics I could have talked about, and I couldn't really figure out what exactly I wanted to talk about, which pieces of vinyl I really wanted to show you guys. So I decided to show just a little bit of everything. So we're gonna jump around a little bit. I'm gonna show you some of the early releases. I'm gonna show you some of the um, really classic, rare releases. I'm gonna show you some bootleg stuff. I'm gonna show you some colored vinyl, and then some of my favorites just in general. So I have a ton of Beastie Boy records, but I pulled out a couple handfuls here that I want you to check out, and you tell me what you think. Okay? So let's get started. First of all, let's uh, let's start with some early stuff. Okay, a lot of people are familiar with their first release. Let's go with the album. Their first album, Beastie Boys Pollywog Stew EP release. There's an early picture of those guys before Ad Rock. That's the original lineup of the Beastie Boys. But this was the Pollywog Stew EP, and this was their first record that had like more than a couple of songs on there, and I believe they got like a big settlement off of this. I believe some airline from France or something had used one of their songs without permission back in the day, if I remember the story correctly, and they were given like a $50,000 settlement, and of course they took that money and used it to do some bigger and better things. But took me a while to find this. This was their punk rock stuff, of course, before they got into, the rap stuff. And I remember looking and looking for. I've had this one forever, but I found this one back in maybe the mid 90s, and I've got like 3 copies of it right now. But this was like their real early stuff, and then this one I believe was even before this. That was the 12-inch, and that's the one that had Cookie Puss on it, and Beastie Revolution, and yeah. So I believe this one was like the first actual piece of vinyl, and then it was kind of followed by, the Pollywog Stew EP. So that's some really early stuff, really before they really got into the rap thing and all of that. Now, once they hooked up with Rick Rubin and Def Jam and all of that, then of course they started putting out some 12 inches on there. And here is the first Def Jam 12-inch. This is Rock Hard, Party's Getting Rough, and Beastie Groove. And that's, of course, on the purple Def Jam label before they went to the black label. And this is, I think they sampled AC/DC Back in Black on this one for one of the songs. But look how old that label is. That's how Def Jam used to look like. Look at that. And you might not be able to tell, this cover looks kind of brownish, but it's actually purple that's been faded so much. It's so old that it kind of went from a purple to a dark brown. But yeah, that's the first Def Jam release, and then here's a better looking purple label, the more classic style. This one was MCA and Bazzotti, whatever that's called. That was the single that they put out. What is that called? I can barely read the writing on here. Psycho, Dust, MCA MC at Beastie Boys. I forgot this. I can't read the name of that song on there. It's been a while since I played this one too, but that's another early Purple Def Jam cover released from the Beastie Boys, at least MCA from the Beastie Boys. Okay, let's keep it moving. Some more early stuff. Now this song, I really like this song. This was real popular back in the early 80s. I think this was 85. And this song was also featured in the movie Tougher Than Leather. Yeah, the Run DMC movie, Tougher Than Leather. And that's Beastie Boys. She's on It. A rock cut, rock tune. But what's really cool about this too is on the B side is Slow and Low, which might be in my top 5 favorite Beastie Boys songs of all time. So that's a classic. She's on It. Slow and Low. If you've never seen this video, go check it out. Go look this video up. It's pretty crazy, pretty fun. The guys hanging out on the beach and whatnot. It's a cool video. Alright, let's keep it moving. So that was some of their early stuff. Now we're gonna go down the line. Check this out. A lot of you might find this to be weird, but when the Check Your Head album came out, I didn't like it at all. I mean, there was 2 songs that I liked. I liked So What You Want, and what was the other one? Pass the Mic. Those songs I loved, but I didn't really like the rest of the album. I just didn't get into it that much. It was like some stuff was rap, some stuff was rock, and I really didn't. Their sound had changed a lot, and I just didn't get into it. I remember buying that record, listening to it a couple of times, and then I just put it in a crate, and it sat in that crate probably for 10 years, 8-10 years before I really pulled it out again. But once I pulled it out and I started revisiting the record and listening to it again, I kind of fell in love with it. And one of my favorite songs on there that took me forever to find a single was Gratitude. And Gratitude was one of the rock songs off of that album, off of the Check Your Head album. But this song I absolutely love. Yes, it's a rock song, but it's got a lot of soul to it. If you haven't listened to this, you know, some of the people that are more, you know, that are quicker, I should say, to listen to the rap stuff, check out Gratitude. It's probably their best rock song in my opinion. And they used to perform this all the time. I always enjoyed it. And I ended up finding 2 copies of it. This was like real expensive when I started looking for it. It was like whenever I would go to a record show and it would pop up, it would be like $40. And I wasn't gonna, you know, buy that at the time. But I finally found a couple copies of these. So it's definitely one of the songs that I enjoy, that I didn't enjoy when the record first came out. Beastie Boys, Gratitude. Now, this next record is very special to me. Many years ago, I was kind of looking up Beastie Boys stuff on the internet, and I came across a website called BeastieMania.com. Now, if you've never heard of this website and you are a Beastie Boys fan, this website will blow your socks off. Everything you've ever wanted to know about the Beastie Boys is on this site. You won't even believe it. Trust me. There's people talking about their Beastie Boy collections, their memorabilia, live shows. It's got all the magazines they've ever appeared in, all of the people they've ever worked with, their complete discographies. You name it, you can find the information on this website. Well, there's this one section in there where it talks about people's collections and people's vinyl collections. And I came across this one record that was featured on there by this producer named Phonocoid. Phonocoid, I think that's how you spell it. Phonocoid I think he's from Europe somewhere. And he bootlegged a record. He made a record, and he remixed a couple of the Beastie Boys songs, "Shake Your Rump," and another song called "Bounce Your Booty." And he made drum and bass slash jungle versions of those songs. And when I saw that, I thought it was so cool because I wasn't familiar with a lot of their stuff being bootlegged at the time. Now, this was maybe 15 years ago that I'm talking about this. And so when I found this record, I was so excited because they were very, very expensive and they were numbered. And this one is number 361. I'm not sure about how many copies were actually pressed. And it also came on blue vinyl. So they had two different pressings. One came on this clear blue, and I think the other one came on like opaque blue. That was more of a lighter, deeper color. You couldn't really see through it. So, and then the cool thing about this record too is the fact that it was blue, the fact that it was numbered. It really inspired me because I have a record label called Jamil Records. And this very record inspired me to do limited pressings on color vinyl on my own label. That was because of this record and this producer, Phonocoid. I hope I'm saying that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he inspired me to release records on my label the way I have released them. And apparently he passed away, I believe, back in 2006. But check for that record. I think you can still find some. There's 40, 50 bucks a piece or whatever. But this is a rare Beastie Boy remix bootleg record where a couple of the songs were turned into jungle songs, drum and bass songs. So if you're in the jungle, drum and bass, check that out. All right? Very special record to me. Now let me show you a couple of rare 45s from the Beastie Boys. These both, if I'm not mistaken, were released in Europe somewhere. I'm not exactly sure. And this first one I want to show you is this 45 Beastie Boy picture disc. See the two B's, Beastie Boys? It's just supposed to have a little hole in there where you can hang it up, but the top of mine is kind of broken up there. You see that? But this is a 45 picture disc, and it's got the song Girls and She's Crafty. That's what the back looks like. How cool is that? European pressing, Def Jam Records, and I don't know what part of Europe it's from, but yeah, check that out. Is that cool or what? Very rare joint. Now, what's crazy is when I look these up now, they're always going for some ridiculous price, if you can even find them. But back when I bought this, probably 15 years ago, they were pretty reasonable. So I picked up a couple of them, actually. I've given a few of these as gifts to people. So that's cool. Girls and She's Crafty, 45 picture disc. Now this other one is super, super cool. This is the Beastie Boys No Sleep to Brooklyn Posse in Effect 45 picture disc with the crashed airplane on it. How cool is that? There's the back of it on clear vinyl. There's the records, another European release. This is another one that I bought way back in the day. I've bought like 3 or 4 of these in my lifetime. I've given them as gifts. And these are super expensive and super rare if you can find them. But is that cool? I mean, come on. Have you ever seen a 45 picture disc that was this cool from a band this classic? That is classic material right there. Beastie Boys, No Sleep to Brooklyn, Posse in Effect. Another one of my favorite Beastie Boys songs of all times. Alright, pretty cool, right? I'm gonna keep going? Let's keep going. Let me show you another picture disc. Now, on some past videos, I've showed you guys a couple of interview picture discs from this one company out of Europe. Can't even remember the company. But here's another one from that label. This is Beastie Boys. This is a bootleg interview picture disc from the 80s. Sound quality is absolutely horrible. But hey, it's an interview. Who doesn't like interviews on vinyl? That's what the back looks like. Cat's looking cool as ever. Man, I'm such a huge fan. But yeah, they're just talking that talk. You know, all their interviews was crazy and ridiculous, and they weren't being serious about anything back in those days. Pretty cool, right? Right on. Okay. So, the next record I want to tell you about is not actually a Beastie Boys record. It's actually someone else's record that features the Beastie Boys. Now, what's interesting about this is a promo only. It's from the movie CB4, the Chris Rock movie from back in the day. And this was their DJ at the time, DJ Hurricane, featuring the Beastie Boys. And this was called Stick 'Em Up. And what's cool about this record is not only was it very hard to find back then, and it was promo only, but in addition to the regular version, it also featured a version that was live in concert. So you got to hear the regular version, and then you got to hear him actually perform this. Now, back in the mid-90s, when I started finding these records, or this particular 12-inch Hurricane Stick 'Em Up, I used to sell this record for $50 to $75 a piece. That's how rare it was to get this back in the day. Now you could probably find it for $4 or $5, $10 maybe. But back then, this was super rare and super hard to find. And I found probably 10 or 12 of these back. And I used to take them to a buddy of mine who owned a record store back in Milwaukee. It's called Earwaves, East Milwaukee. And I'd put them in his store on consignment, and he'd sell them within days for $50 to $75 all day, man. So this is really cool. Hurricane featuring a Beastie Boys, Stick 'Em Up. If you haven't heard this, check this out. In fact, this whole CB4 soundtrack is pretty cool. This is also the soundtrack that KRS-One did the Black Cop single off of, and it's got all of them have the same promo covers with the little sticker down here. I think Public Enemy also had a single off of that movie as well. Okay, so now let's move on to some colored vinyl. I want to show y'all some of my colored vinyl. Here's one that a lot of you may be familiar with. This was the famous Hello Nasty with the gold vinyl. Pretty rare, pretty expensive if you can find it. But this is a great song, a great album, I mean. My favorite song off of here is Super Disco Breakin'. But yeah, this is the gold vinyl version. So a lot of you might be familiar with that. But let's keep it moving. Okay, so the next one I want to show you is a very special record. I was so happy when I found this record. It's one of my favorite EPs from the Beastie Boys. It's the Root Down EP. Root Down being another one of my favorite Beastie Boys songs. But this particular one is actually on blue vinyl. And so I haven't seen that one before. But when I saw it, there's something about this blue with this cover that looks so cool. So I was real happy to find this one. There's another one here, the Beastie Boys Love America Style 12-inch. This one is actually on pink vinyl. How cool is that? Kind of goes with the cover, right? Love America Style. This is the one that had Shake Your Rump and Hey Ladies on it. So that was, it's pink. It's kind of like a, yeah, like a deep pink color there. So that's another cool one. And here's a cool one. Beastie Boy Ill Communication. Now let me tell you something about this album. This was another album that when it came out, I did not like it at all. Keep in mind, I came up on the License to Ill record, all of that hard Rick Rubin, Jazzy J production. And so when this one kind of came out, it was not my cup of tea. In fact, I took it back to the record store and I asked Dave at Earwaves in Milwaukee, could I get something else? I didn't like this at all. And he was like, sure, yeah, go grab something else. So I actually took this record back. But then some years later, I bought it again, and of course I loved it. I've got probably 3 copies of this. But this particular one, if I can get it out. Okay, I gotta pull this one out. This particular one is on green vinyl. So I don't know. It's a two album or two record sets. But I don't know how many of y'all have seen the green vinyl version of this. But yeah, this is Ill Communication on green vinyl. Now, I got this one and I got these two off of eBay way back in the day. Now here's what's crazy. Years ago, this is probably in the mid 2000s, 2004, 5, 6, somewhere in there, the Beastie Boys had one of their staff members selling a bunch of their stuff on eBay. And it was a bunch of rare stuff, colored vinyl promos, limited pressings, you know. It was some of the coolest stuff, and this is where I was able to buy these two. And it was 2 of the only items on there that I could actually afford, because a lot of that stuff went for astronomical prices, stuff that was way out of my price range. But these two I was glad to get my hands on. Now this next one, I've talked about this record before. This is the In Sound from Way Out. And I remember when this record first came out, it was, I believe it was like 20 bucks. 20 bucks back in the late, mid 90s. I can't remember when this came out. 90, what does it say? 94. 94. 20 bucks, that was a lot of money for me for a record. So I was like, I'm not spending 20 bucks on that, even though I love the Beastie Boys. So years and years and years went by before I actually found this again. I actually found this in South Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota somewhere. And for those that don't know, this was a limited pressing of 5,000, and this was released on gold vinyl. And it was also numbered, if you can see that. They numbered them. Now they've since reissued this one, but this is the original pressing. I have 3 copies of this on gold vinyl. So out of those 5,000, 3 of them belong to Darrell D. So I definitely wanted to talk about that one. This one is very sentimental because I chased this record for years because I was too cheap to drop 20 bucks. And then when I found it, it was only like 12 bucks. So these tend to go up and down in value. I haven't researched it lately, but that's a very special record to me. And here's something cool. Since I was going to show this, I decided to pull out the original jazz record that they got the inspiration for the cover from, and that's what the original looks like. So there's the Beastie Boy joint, and there's the actual jazz version, Perry Kingsley, Electronic Pop Music of the Future. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, let's keep it going. Now we're going to get into some foreign pressings. Nothing too spectacular here, but this is a Japanese pressing of License to Ill. It's not too different from the original. It's just got some Japanese writing here and there. Still got the same gatefold picture sleeve. It's got like the song list in Japanese writing, and then it still has the the little insert there, original insert, but just a Japanese pressing. I thought that was pretty cool. And then here's another License to Ill release, and I didn't even look to see what country this was released in. This is another import. This is Russian or something. I don't know what this is, but this is another License to Ill foreign pressing. And look at the lettering up there. You know what I mean? That's nothing like, you know, our original. That's like what the American and Japanese pressing is. And this is, I don't know if this is Argentina or Russia. I don't know what this is from, but Epic Records in conjunction with Columbia Records. Epic Records, kind of upside down. But yeah, that's kind of wow, huh? And then that's what the back looks like, the song listing and all of that. But that's a foreign pressing of License to Ill. Alrighty, now we got one more I want to show you, another foreign pressing. This is their first big single, Hold It Now, Hit It. Also another foreign pressing. This was definitely released in Europe somewhere, and that's what that one looks like. Beastie Boys, Hold It Now, Hit It. Foreign pressing. Crazy weird cover. I don't know what that's all about, but I just wanted to show you guys some of the pressings from other countries that they put out back in the day. So there you have it. That's some of my coolest Beastie Boy records in my collection. You got some weird stuff in there. You got some foreign stuff. You got some color vinyl in there. You've got some bootlegs in there. And then you just got some of my favorites along with some of the early stuff in there. Like I said, I'm a big Beastie Boy fan. I know a lot of you guys out there are too. And so I just wanted to share some of these items, some of these gems with you. Why don't you tell me what some of your favorite Beastie releases are down in the comments. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time on Darrell D TV. Peace.